welcome back to the channel. I'm Melissa of Mama Got Vintage Style. I am so excited today because one, I'm gonna go thrifting, like yay, but two, I just want to talk through my process of how I do things, how I find things at the thrift store or op shopping, because everyone's process is different. You do you, but this is my process. Maybe get some tips or, learn some things, or maybe you're just new to it altogether. So I've definitely been going for some years now, since I was like a child, going to the op shop or thrift store. And it all starts because I love finding unique and vintage pieces, special pieces that other people don't have. So this is my process. This is how I do things. I'd love to know if you do things differently or different ideas, because I'm always learning as well as you're learning. So I'd love to know. Please drop anything in the comments. But let's get started. First things first, yes, I am a mom and it's all about snack life, but I take snacks for myself. Take some snacks with you, take some water with you. Plan sort of, if you're taking any bags with you, because a lot of the thrift stores or op shops don't have bags. Take bags, take any of those essential things you need for your thrifting expedition, because you'll definitely need it. You'll get hungry, and especially if you're doing a day of thrifting, you'll get hungry. You want snacks, you want to get to that next place, and sometimes the snack and that drink will just get you there. My next thing is I always plan my trip. So I think about what stores am I going to, where are they located, how long does it take to get to those stores. Also, the other thing I think about is how much time do I actually have when I'm at the thrift store, because knowing me, I can get kind of lost in the thrift store and all of a sudden time just disappears and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm meant to be somewhere else. So if you can, plan your time. And that also, I think when you think about these things, it helps with what areas you look at when you go to the thrift store. Some people I know take a list of things that they're always searching for. For me, I don't always have a list, but sometimes I'll be like, right, okay, this season is changing, it's getting warmer, I need short sleeves tops or I need singlet tops, so therefore that will be like big on my list to look at that section. Or maybe I'm missing, certain colors in my wardrobe or things like that. So that's how I also think about planning before I go to the thrift store. In saying that, sometimes there are just these epic pieces that just kind of get presented in front of your eyes and you're like, this is amazing. It actually didn't fit into any of the things that I was thinking about today, and I end up going and getting those pieces. So like I said, have some sort of guidelines, some sort of rules, but in the end, you decide, you make up the choices. So the other thing is to dress for the thrift store, because some places, I know overseas, in Australia, a lot of the thrift stores have change rooms, but I know overseas they don't always have that, and people kind of just try in front of the mirrors that they have there, and there's no change rooms. Sometimes here there's change rooms, but there's like crazy busy and you can't even get into that. Or like me, I have a small child and it's hard for me to get into a change room with her, trying things on and time as well. So I kind of dress so then I can try things on over what I'm already wearing. Underneath this is my outfit that I'm wearing today. I'm wearing some casual sneakers, got a little socket in there, so if I need to try on shoes, I've already got that. Or sometimes you want to carry a little pair of socks with you. I've got this easy breezy skirt that I can easily try things over. This knit, I've got a singlet top underneath, so I can take it off, try something over the top if it's more fitted and I don't have, I can't get to a change room or get a basket, because sometimes I go there and I find all this amazing stuff and then I'm like, oh, I'm carrying all this stuff and I've got to find a cart or basket. So definitely get that at the start. And my tip is, if you're unsure of an item, put it in your cart, put it in your basket and think about it, because I've been in situations where I've thought about an item and then I've gone back, it's either gone and sold, or I've gone back to that same area and someone else is already trying that on or claimed it or whatever. So just put it all in your cart. If you're unsure, put it in your cart. Sometimes there's like firm yeses, and sometimes you're like, maybe, I'm not sure how this is going to work for me. Do I need this? You know, all those sort of undecisive questions. Put it in the cart, decide at the end. My goal when I get to the store is to look at everything always. Sometimes like I said, I'm time poor, or it's just whatever the situation is, I might only have 15 minutes. Sometimes I've got a couple of hours. So my goal is always to look at everything in the whole store. If I have time to look at everything in the whole store, I'm looking at every section, going through every rack, because it's not a curated place like you go into a store. In the homeware section, they could have displays of shoes, also misplaced items, or items that they think go in homewares, but it's actually a piece of, accessory. So check every section, and that means check the children's section if you don't have any children. Check the menswear section if you're not shopping for menswear. Check, the sort of fancy dress and costume section, because there I have found some amazing pieces before. So check every section if you can, because you never know what you're going to see and what you're going to find throughout the whole store. And if I only have 10 or 15 minutes or even less, I just go to the sections I'm interested in. So for example, for me, I am interested in crafts and sewing, so I would hit that section. The other section I'm always interested in finding like accessories, so the jewelry section, the shoes, the handbags, that sort of section. I'm not kind of going through racks of clothing. I would highly recommend trying pieces on than just going there, grabbing them, buying them, and then realizing they don't work for you. So I get everything into my cart. I go to the change rooms or the mirror. I like to find a large mirror in store, and then I try it on over my clothes or try on the change rooms. I look at things like the fit of the garment on me, because sometimes the fit can make or break how it looks like on you. Some things can, if it's ill-fitting, it can just, even if it's an amazing brand or amazing quality, it just doesn't do anything for you. If it's a beautiful tailored piece and it fits beautifully, you look so luxurious and you look so amazing. But if it's ill-fitting in some way, and the other thing is, if it's ill-fitting, I find you kind of have this discomfort feeling, and the way you carry yourself and your movements throughout, the day wearing that piece is not great. And I don't always feel confident as well when I'm wearing ill-fitting clothes. So I definitely look at the fit, I look at the style, and I also look at, the condition, as we discussed before. So has it got stains? I check the collars, check all the buttons, check the seams, check everything of that piece, and make that decision based on that. Because sometimes when you grab it at the rack and you think it looks amazing, you put it in the cart. The other thing is, some people don't always do this, but I always check the smell of the piece, because sometimes they can be in a house that can be it can be stored away and it could be like sort of musty, or sometimes the piece has been in a home that has certain smells for whatever reason, or it's been stored somewhere, like I said, and the smells can be very hard to get out sometimes. So I also check that as well, because you don't want to be wearing stinky clothing. Other things that I look at when deciding on the pieces I bring home, especially with clothing accessories, is how will it work in my existing wardrobe now? Is it the season I'll be wearing it now? Will I wear it, like for example, we're going to spring, summer now. If I find a piece that's like a winter style, will I wear it during winter? So I think about all these things going forward of how I wear the piece, how long will I wear it, will it match my existing pieces, or sometimes I find the most amazing piece, vintage or not vintage, and I was like, oh, this actually gives me so much inspiration to create a whole new look with what I've got based on this foundation new piece that I've got. So I ask myself many questions when I'm in the change room of how I'm going to curate what I've got in my basket and take home, but also what will work for me in my life, in my lifestyle, in my wardrobe. And if it's a homewares item, how will it work within the pieces I've already got in my house? So I ask myself all those questions. The more questions you ask yourself, the best, because once you get that item home, you'll be satisfied and happy with it, and you know 100% you've made the right decision. I always look at pieces and I'm like, if it's a firm yes, I will take it. If it's like, then I'm like, usually I'm going to put it back. And if it's a no, obviously it's a no. The other thing I do think about, especially like vintage pieces or any clothing or homewares, I think, okay, would I pay full price for this item? And if the answer is no, then that also helps me make a decision. So next thing is, once you've decided your pieces, place back. I always place back the items either where they came, or if there is a rack to put things away. Usually, because I've worked in retail and I know how it feels, I put things back where they belong. Sometimes, for example, I'll find a women's piece in the men's wear, I'll put it back in the women's wear where it belongs. So that's definitely something that I try to do, because it helps the staff, and it just, I just think it's really nice to do those sort of things and caring. Okay, so you have all your pieces and you're ready to go. Now you're gonna pay and you're gonna check out of all the pieces, and it's happy days. And this is the most exciting part, because you've got all these treasures and you're like so excited because you're like, whoa, I've got all this cool stuff to play with now in my wardrobe, in my house, to decorate my house. And usually, it doesn't cost that much because it's from the thrift store or op shop. And that's what's so exciting about it. And the other exciting thing for me personally is that I find these individual, quirky, one-of-a-kind pieces that I feel no one else really has. And I get inspiration, on how I style in my creativity of some of the things that I find that feel original and one of a kind. Okay, well, I hope that helped. I'm going now to use all of that information that I just talked about, and I'm going for an expedition to test all my things out, which I haven't really done before, so this is going to be exciting, a bit of a challenge for myself. Do I hold up to those things that I've just talked about? And I'm going to go now to the thrift store, my local one, and I'm going to see what I come back with. I might come back with heaps of things. I might come back with just one thing, but I always know that the decisions I make, I'm completely happy with and confident with in the end. So let's go. I'm back from the thrift store. It was an interesting day today because today being Friday, I went in the afternoon and I found that there wasn't that much out because I think a lot of people had picked over it by that time, which is all good, but I still found some pieces that I'm pretty happy with and confident with, and some real gems I feel for myself, or I consider gems. But I will show you my mini haul. Basket bag in the homeware section. I think it's meant to be like a little fishing bag. I'm not sure, but I just thought it'd be so cute in summer because it has that natural woven basket vibe as a little handbag. And I got this piece. I mean, it's so quirky. I love it. And I got it for $5. As you know, I'm a sewer, so I picked up these patterns that were between 20 and 50 cents each. A lot of them are vintage, so that's also exciting because I love vintage items. I always check out the linen section, all the towels, blankets, all that sort of stuff, because as a sewer, I use fabric, and sometimes fabric from certain stores can be, you know, especially if you're on a budget, more expensive. So I find sheets and things and I upcycle them. And I found this cute little single bed sheet, and it was, I think, $3 or $4. It's 100% cotton. I thought the print was really cute going into summer, and I could make some shorts or maybe even a top out of it. I thought it was super cute. I love, of course, it's pink, one of my favorite colors. So I thought that was really sweet. Okay, so you know how I always tell you it's really good idea to look at the costume section or the Halloween section or the dress up section if your thrift store op shop has that, because I found this beautiful OB there and it was $5. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I can see this sort of, you know, like obviously a skirt and top situation and bring that kind of interest as a belt. But if you had something really elegant, kind of evening gown, this would bring some really cool interest to it. Or even over a coat, like belt it in winter and give that pop of color. I mean, the fabric on this is beautiful. It's been beautifully made. And this was in the costume section. And lastly, I got something for Zoya. She loves dancing and all those sort of quirky, really fun pieces. This is probably a little bit big for her, but anyway, she'll still love wearing it. And this was, I think, $3 or $4. And I thought it was super cute. I mean, you couldn't even make it for that. And look at the cute little sequins on it. She's absolutely going to adore this and have so much fun playing around with this. So, to give you an idea, what I spent today, I spent $18.50 on everything that you saw. The bag was $5, the sheet was $3, the patterns were $1.50 for all 3 patterns. The belt was $5, and Zoya's little dancing costume was only $4. So $18.50, I got all those pieces. That was such a good exercise of going to the thrift store and finding those amazing pieces, and also using my rules and applying it to my actual day or my experience today. I would love to know if you have any tips or tricks that you use that I don't use myself, because I'm always learning as much as you're always learning, and anything that can better my experience or fast track it or things to look out for, I'd love to know. So please comment below. I'd love to, you know, hear or read all about it. During the weeks, I'm always on TikTok or Instagram under the same handle name, Mama Got Vintage Style, and I'm always posting sort of behind the scenes things and anything that's going on during my week, whether it's styling, looking at vintage, sewing, going to thrift stores. I'm always posting stuff there during the week. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you next week for another video.